Welcome to Narc Abuse No More, where we're here to help educate you about narcissistic abuse because your feelings do matter. Hi, and welcome to another podcast of Narc Abuse No More with your host, Dr. and Evangelist, K.O. Rich. Thanks for tuning in today. Today is Wednesday. Yes, it is Wednesday, March the 29th of 2023. I pray that you have had a blessed, stress-free, narcissistic-free, abuse-free week so far, and that the remainder of this week will continue to be so as well. But if not, we're going to be talking about a few things today. Again, my name is Dr. K.O. Rich with Narc Abuse No More, where we're here to help you admit what you feel in order to heal from the effects of narcissistic abuse, because your feelings do matter. Yes, they do. But before we go on with today's podcast, I'd like to invite you to visit us on our website at www.narcabusenomore.org. Again, that website address is www.narcabusenomore.org. And on our website, you'll find valuable information regarding narcissism, relationships, and if you have missed any of these podcasts, all you have to do is go directly to our website. Now, just to let you know, we are on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Play, iTunes, Castbox, and Deezer. We're also on Amazon Audible, Rumble, Brighteon, and The Tube. That's right, we are on YouTube. But if all else fails, all you have to do is go directly to our website at www.narcabusenomore.org. Now, I want to just let you all know something. Those who are on the SoundCloud, if you're not seeing all the podcasts from the previous ones, all you have to do is subscribe to also an additional platform, which is YouTube or whatever the platform is of your choice. All right, what are we talking about today? We are talking about getting dumped. And it's a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing. Now, you may think you have broken up with someone and that is just the worst thing that has happened. This person dumped you, or it was mutual where you all need to break up. And sometimes that's a great thing because the relationship was not prospering. The relationship was not thriving. It was not growing. And so it's better to get dumped before you get into that contractual obligation of marriage than it would be after the fact and having to go through the pain that comes with divorce. So I want to read you in one of these narcissistic abuse platforms, these groups, something someone had written, and they outlined some things that was taking place in their relationship before they got dumped. So I want to read this to you, and this is from a guy, and he says, "I was recently dumped over a text, and it really took a toll on me. The past couple weeks, I've been pondering on the relationship and trying to find closure on my own. I realized a lot of things and decided to note all the red flags. I feel like there's more, but I'm afraid to admit it. I'm honestly disappointed in myself for ignoring them. I guess the breakup was a blessing for me." So you have this guy and he got dumped over text. That means that she didn't confront him face to face and say, "Oh, this is not going to work." She sent him a text and dumped him. This is not even funny, but that's kind of cowardly on the other person's part. At least give them the meet face to face to say it rather than doing it over a text. But anyway, neither here nor there. He was pondering over this relationship, so he decided to write down the red flags that was in his relationship And he says there's probably more, but he got a good list here of things that that many people may be dealing with. And so I decided to go through his list in order to talk to you about things that you need to take note of that are red flags. Since everything he has mentioned here is a red flag. Number one, humiliation. We often talk about narcissists loving to humiliate their victims. They will do whatever they can in front of others to try to put you down, to make you feel bad about yourself. They exploit what they consider to be your weaknesses or those things that you may not feel so great about yourself. They will exploit them and try to humiliate you as a way of power and control over you. So therefore, I always tell you about your Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say can and will be used against you in the court of the narcissist. All right. So one of their things, with whatever information you give them, be careful, because they will try to use it to humiliate you with it. Number two, family threatens violence if she gets hurt. So therefore, he was dealing with the family threatening him in the event that she got hurt. Now, if this is a person who is physically abusive or something, then yes, they do need to know that, hey, you step over that line, then there's going to be some issues with the family. All right, we're going to call the cops. We're going to make sure that she is safe and secure. However, when you're dealing with a manipulative type of family, you're also you might be dealing with people that are not balanced all the way. Okay, so therefore they will threaten you to try to manipulate and control you if you're dealing with a narcissistic family. So you might not be just dealing with the individual that you're with that's narcissistic. You're dealing with a whole entire narcissistic family who's going to side with the narcissist, not seeing the whole 360, but they're going to side with the narcissist because in this case, blood's thicker than water, or they're just not going to stand for right regardless of what. So therefore, if you're dating a narcissist, you're more than likely dealing with some family members that are narcissistic, that are also going to be that individual's flying monkeys, and so therefore they're going to do the evil bidding of the narcissist, or they might feel they have more to lose by going against that narcissist than to stand for what's right. Number three, thinks she and her family are superior. Well, we know that the narcissists, they think that they have this grandiose view about themselves, and although it's fake in a sense, and when I say fake, because they really don't feel good about themselves. When you're dealing with a narcissist, anyone who has to mistreat or put down others really don't feel good about themselves, because when you are secure and confident in who you are, you don't have to put down anyone else. You say, you know what, I got it going on. I'm happy for who I am and the gifts and talents that God has given me to thrive in this earth, and so therefore I'm content with who I am. But when you are dealing with someone that's insecure, then they will always try to make you feel like someone else is better than you, or they are better than you, or their family's better than you. So this is something that he was dealing with, is that she had this mindset that she and her family were superior. Number 4, slapping. Let me just say this, and this is to the men. Just because a woman is the weaker vessel according to the Bible does not mean that she has the right to put her hands on you. Abuse is abuse, whether it's coming from the male or the female. Ladies, you don't have a right to slap him just because you get mad, no more than he has a right to slap you because he gets mad. Come on now. Abuse is abuse. It doesn't matter if it's the male doing it or the female doing it. Now, a lot of times you'll see on television where a woman slap a man. That is never okay. Abuse is abuse. That means that, ladies, you don't want him to slap you back. Don't slap him. Okay, his face is not made for your hands to be hit. Okay, it is not okay to slap, punch, kick, and do whatever type of physical abuse to him, or any type of abuse for that matter, no more than it's okay for him to do it to you. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Number 5, still sharing location with ex. When you are with someone and you two have decided that you all are in a relationship, that means that why are you communicating with your ex? Why are you still typing and texting and calling and hanging out and all that? That's so disrespectful. Now, unless you're a person that don't mind that person is still friends with their ex and kicking it and everything with their ex, that's supposed to be a closed door. That means that, especially when you get married to this person, that means that you put all those things behind you, okay, and you move forward in the new. So sometimes those that are narcissistic, they do that just because they want to get a rise out of the individual that they're really trying to make jealous. It's a type of control. It's a type of way to say, you know what, I really don't need you after all, because I got backup just in case I decide to dump you. All right. So be careful when it comes to those ex relationships. Why they're ex? They're supposed to be an ex for a reason. That means ex out. Okay, X out the life. We're at number 6. Lack of communication. You cannot have a good relationship if you do not have any communication. If you all are on 2 different pages, then you're not going to thrive in that relationship. Relationships need communication. It's a must-have in order for the relationship to work. So in this relationship, he was saying that there was a lack of communication. They were not on the same page. So therefore, there's no surprise that this relationship did not work, because a relationship cannot work if the 2 parties are not communicating. Number 7. Emotionally immature and unavailable. When you are dealing with someone that's emotionally immature, that means that when you're dealing with narcissists, you're oftentimes dealing with someone that's a 2-year-old in an adult body. All right, they're not emotionally there. You've seen people that they might be emotionally or mentally challenged, where even though they're an adult, their minds did not fully develop. So therefore, they're an adult, okay, but they might have the maturity of a 5-year-old, and this is not because of anything that they did wrong. It's because some kind of birth defect or whatever case may be that caused them to be like that. So it's the same way when you're dealing with someone in a relationship that's emotionally immature. Even though they may be of age, they're not mature and how to handle things and how to be in a relationship, and they don't understand what it requires to even have a good, healthy relationship. So age does not necessarily mean maturity, and so many people are immature in relationships. Therefore, they don't need to be in them because they don't know how the dynamics of the relationship should work. They're emotionally immature. They take everything, you have to walk on eggshells around them. Everything's an argument, everything's a flare up. And a lot of times people, when they raise their voice, it's because they don't really have an argument. Okay, a valid argument. When you are confident in what you know to be facts, you don't have to raise your voice. But a lot of times when you get into the people, they're going to name calling and all these different things. Why? Because they don't have a valid argument. So the only thing that they can do is act like children. This is what's often happening in relationships. Emotionally unavailable. You're not allowing yourself to be vulnerable in this relationship with this other person. So you're not there with their needs, their wants, their desires. You're not there for them. Therefore, you are unavailable. And this is what he was experiencing in his relationship. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back in just a moment.
A pretty pair, and that you would never leave, but you gave away the things you love, and one of them was me. I had some dreams, they were clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee. You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you. Don't you, don't you, don't you? I had some dreams, they were clouds in my coffee, clouds in my coffee, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I'll bet you think this song is about you. Don't you, don't you? When I went up to Saratoga and your horse naturally won, then you flew your Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun. When you're where you should be all the time, and when you're not, you're with some underworld spy or the wife of a close friend, wife of a close friend, and you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Don't you, don't you, don't you? So vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain.
You're So Vain, and that is by Carly Simon. You're so vain. You got a lot of vain people out here. That is true. All right, so what number are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They are liars. They love deceiving you. When you are in a relationship, and this is what he was dealing with. He was dealing with a lot of deception. We know that narcissists tend to be liars. They tend to stretch the truth, embellish the truth, or whatever. So therefore, when they're doing that, they are liars. Now the thing is that even if you catch them in the act of doing something wrong, they will deny it. They will try to gaslight you to make you feel like it's all in your head, like you is not your reality, when in fact whatever it was that you said that they did, or you saw them do, or you heard them do, or whatever case may be, was factual. But they will lie to you, and most importantly, they're lying to themselves. But they want to gaslight you to make you feel like, oh, it's just in your head. Number 8, they isolate you from family and friends. This is what he was dealing with. He was dealing with isolation. So basically, she did not want him to be around his family, around his friends, and this is a typical tool in the abuser's arsenal, is to isolate you from friends and family. They try to make you feel guilty that you are trying to be around other people, and they don't want you to be around, especially those who are able to call them out for what they for the abuse that they might be doing to you, or people that can see through them. So therefore, they will try to isolate you. They will try to make you feel guilty if you be around friends or family. They will act as if you're not giving them enough attention, as if you're doing something wrong just because you need an outlet. Now, even when you get married, and even though the dynamics of things change within the marriage, there are times that you need to have friends, okay? You need to be around friends. You need to be around people. Therefore, if someone is trying to isolate you from your friends and family before you even get married to them, they're definitely going to be more like that once they feel like they have you all wrapped in for the marriage. All right, number, where we at? I'm not even worried about numbers because I can't. This was not numbered. It just had red flags. He was negative talking about his family and friends. This is another way of manipulation and control when you're dealing with narcissists. They will talk about people that are in your life. Why? Because they want to make you feel bad. They want to have that sense of manipulation and control over you. So therefore, they will talk about other people in your life to make you, to distance you from them, to make you feel bad about being around them. And it's a mind game, and it's so important to recognize the red flags when you're in a relationship like this, because if you have not married this person, this is the time to run towards the hills, all right, to get away. Because if you go ahead with the marriage of this individual with all these red flags, now this is the thing, you might say, well, nobody's perfect, and there is, yeah, that's true, none of us are perfect, but some people need a little counseling, okay? Some people need a little help. And if you go ahead with that marriage, you are going to be miserable, capital M, miserable, all right? So therefore, you need to recognize these signs with this individual to say, you know what, this is not for me, because if they're showing you signs already, and you're not even married to them, guess what? It's going to be magnified 100-fold before, after you say, I do. So don't ignore the signs. I can't preach this enough on this podcast. If you're dating someone and you're seeing signs that the relationship is toxic, is unhealthy, this person is not mentally stable, they're unhealthy, don't proceed with go. Don't proceed. It's better to back out. Now, he got dumped in this relationship, and it was a blessing. If he was dealing with all these different things, guess what? She blessed him. Not knowing it, but she blessed him. All right? because then he can move on with someone when that time comes, someone who will not have these traits. And hopefully he pays attention to the red flags that he wrote down, because that's what we're reading, these red flags that he noticed after the relationship ended. And hopefully he will know not to pursue anyone who are displaying these type of traits. Another thing he dealt with was double standards, and that's quite common when you're dealing with abusive relationships, whether it's emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical, whatever. For them, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. Whatever rules are for thee and not for me. That's the mindset of when you're dealing with a narcissist or an abuser, right? So there are always double standards. They will not go according to the same rules that they set for you. All right, so this is something to pay attention to. If you have a certain thing that you don't want that person to do, if you don't want that person cheating on you, then you don't cheat on that other person. Common sense. Don't have a double standard. Abide by the same way that you want someone to treat you. You make sure that you're that way to other people. Next is runs when there is conflict. Avoid difficult conversations. Well, because if they can't gaslight you into thinking that it's all in your head, then they don't want to deal with it. They will make it seem as if you're causing a problem, you're causing an argument, and if you don't talk about issues, they will never get resolved. But when you're dealing with the unhealthy relationship, they don't want to deal with issues. They don't want to see that they need to change, and this is something that's important in a relationship. If you know that there's some issues that you are dealing with that needs to be changed, that's causing trouble in the relationship, then a healthy person would try to change and say, you know what, okay, I'm doing some things that's not conducive to this relationship, so therefore I'm going to work on changing the things that I'm doing, because after all, I care for this individual. And so if it's something that I'm doing that's not right in the relationship, then I'm going to listen to this person, take what they're saying under consideration, and actually try to work on changing it. But when you're dealing with narcissistic type of individuals, they do not care to change. They don't want to acknowledge they need to change, and they will avoid it altogether. And most of the time, they act as if it's something wrong with you rather than changing their own behavior. So therefore, he was not able to resolve conflict. He was not able to have the difficult conversations that needed to be had, and that's because this person was not willing to change. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back in just a moment.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, you say I'm in love when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. You say I'm held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours, and I believe, what you say of me. I believe, I believe, yes, I believe, what you say of me. I
Lauren Daigle, you say. All right, so we're still talking about getting dumped and being glad about it. It's a good thing. I know most people, when you've been dumped and we've all been there and we be like, oh, this is just the worst thing. And then you look back years later, okay, you say, you know what? That was the best thing that ever could have happened because this person was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, all right? So, therefore, it was a very good thing. Another thing that he dealt with in this relationship was excessive jealousy. Excessive jealousy, and when someone is in a relationship and you can't speak to someone or they're jealous, you can't achieve something or they're jealous or whatever it is. If they're not the center of attention, they're jealous. No one wants to be in a relationship where a person is jealous of them. All right, they're insecure because that's what this is all about. Insecurity. Therefore, he was experiencing, he said, excessive jealousness. She was jealous of him and may have been jealous of his relationships with others. And therefore, when you hear them talking about your friends, your family, your loved ones, or whatever, that's a form of jealousy. Next is silent treatment. Instead of being mature and talking about whatever it is that needed to be discussed, she would give him the silent treatment. And they love to do that because that's their way of trying to control you, to try to say, well, you know what, it's in my court. The ball is in my hands. You have no power. So therefore, they would give you the silent treatment instead of being mature and say, you know what, let's talk about this. Now, there are times when the tension may be so high that you all both need to take a breather so you won't say or do anything that would cause harm to the other individual. Okay, that's okay. But when you're dealing with silent treatment for a person that they do this all the time instead of communicating, then they find that I'm going to punish you by not responding to you, then that's a form of manipulation. Another thing is when you're dealing with a person that's irresponsible. He said that she was very irresponsible. When you're in a relationship with someone, you need someone that can be responsible. That means that, especially when you say I do and you get married, okay, have the bills been paid? If you're responsible for taking care of the bills or seeing them out, making sure that everybody get paid on time, but then, oh, well, you know what, they're 3 months behind, stuff about to get shut off or whatever case may be. So then you can't trust that individual because they're irresponsible in handling things. No one wants to be with someone that is irresponsible. So whatever you say or whatever obligations you have or whatever in this relationship, you need to be responsible enough in the relationship. And if someone shows that they are not responsible, if they're late to their job, you notice that they're always late to the job. If they tell you they're going to do something, you notice that they don't do it. They act as if they forgot about it. Well, if you're noticing these type of things in the relationship, then it's letting you know that you need to put the brakes on that relationship. He says he dealt with her hot and cold. So basically, some bipolar moments. Not saying that she was bipolar, but one minute she's warm, the next minute she's not. One minute she's friendly, the next minute she's not. One minute she's happy, the next minute she's down. So it's basically like you getting whiplash, and therefore this is another thing that's not healthy in the relationship, where you never know what kind of bag that person's going to come out of on any given day. So again, the hot and cold, being turned off, turned on, or whatever case may be, he was dealing with this, and this is not healthy or typical of a healthy relationship. She called all her exes crazy. And so one thing that I often suggest to people is to pay attention to how they talk about their ex. If they're calling their exes bees and all these kind of things, then remember, you may soon be that ex, and you will be in that category as well. When you're in a mature relationship, you often would say, you know what, there were some things that I did not handle right within the relationship, or I could have changed within the relationship. And then you also maybe mention what the other person may have done in the relationship, or whatever the case may be. But if the blame game, and you have to pay attention with the narcissist, the blame game will always be on someone else. It'll never be anything that they did, because after all, they were always perfect in the relationships with everybody that they've been in. But if they've been in a relationship with this one, that one, this one, that one, or whatever case may be, and everything has failed, then it may be something with that particular individual, or they may have been choosing the wrong type of people, which still stems back to that particular individual. So the common denominator is what you have to pay attention to. Last but not least, love bombing. When we talk about love bombing, we talk about this person who they'll treat you like dirt, like crap, and then all of a sudden, they're showering you with gifts, showering you with affections, showering you with love. They know that they've done things that will cause you to leave that relationship, so therefore they try to be all super nice and friendly and all the things that you wanted them to be, but they weren't, okay, because they feel like you're gonna up and bounce on them. And then you getting all those things, and then all of a sudden they pull it away. All right. So this is love bombing. It's not sincere. When you're dealing with the narcissist, always know that whenever they're doing something nice, you better know in the back of your head that the bomb is coming. So that's why it's called love bombing. They do the loving acts, but then at the end of that word, bomb, which means that it explodes. So whatever they've done is negated by what they do next. This is something you definitely want to pay attention to when you're dealing with the relationship. And so this is what he was dealing with in this relationship. So he wrote down all these red flags that he saw, that he was finally able to realize that was taking place in this relationship. And so now he actually ended it with saying that he guessed that the breakup was a blessing. And it was. If he was dealing with all these things, which are everything he mentioned is unhealthy for any relationship, then guess what? He got a blessing in disguise. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it. You know, when you love this particular individual and the relationship doesn't work, then you might feel like, I've lost out, I'm going to be alone, or whatever case may be. But the thing is, it is better to be a single individual where you're not dealing with drama than to be with someone and you're dealing with a whole bunch of issues that are not really your issues, but the other person. However, you can't change people. You can only try to be the best person that you can be in any relationship, but you can't change another individual. They have to make the choice to change for themselves. And oftentimes when you are dealing with real narcissists, they don't see the need for change, so therefore they don't. they don't see the need for change. They don't acknowledge that they need to change. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always something someone else did. It's always someone else is wrong. But they will never admit that they are wrong. And this is for most narcissists. The thing is that people change if they want to change. If they want to change. But you can't make anyone change regardless of how much you love them. They have to be the one that wants to change. Other than that, you are fighting a losing battle. So was getting dumped a good thing? Absolutely. In his case, if she had all these traits that we just went over, it was a blessing in disguise. All right, I pray that today's podcast has been a blessing to you and that you will know, guess what? Your feelings do matter. This is Dr. K.L. Rich with Narc Abuse No More, helping you to admit what you feel in order to heal from the effects of narcissistic abuse. Until next time.